even breathes better than most people. You change your screen back to the map and trace the plane's path with your finger, but before you can get to California, the screen interrupts itself with an ad for car rentals. Rude, you think, flipping it back to Benedict Cumberbatch. He's leaning against a wall, laughing. He's putting a toothpick between his teeth. Kath doesn't understand why you find him attractive when he's so ordinary. Small eyes, she says. Pinched mouth. But it's his ordinariness that makes him attractive. Anyway, he's number 2. Josh Harris is and always will be number 1. You sneak another glance at him, at his perfectly straight nose and at his ear, which is sporting a diamond stud. The plane lurches. Flying is a suspension of disbelief, your dad said before you boarded to leave home. Now you know what he means. How does the plane stay up? It's ridiculous. Nothing makes sense. You lean your head back on the headrest and try not to think about lice. The engine noise is louder than you remember from the flight over, but you were too excited and nervous that time to properly pay attention. Or maybe this time, because you are in the very last row with your back pressed up against the end of the plane with no way to tip your chair back, it just sounds different. Anyway, right now, everything is too loud. The roar of the engine and the voices of your classmates and the other passengers and the way Mr. Appleby keeps standing up and saying, "Hey," and then sitting back down again as though his work is done. No one is quieter after one of his heys, which are completely ineffectual, except in getting the passengers who aren't in the band to look at him and then sigh, annoyed. It's the return half of your first plane trip, first time out of the country, first time for a lot of things. But nothing happened, except the fight with Kath, which sucks. Paris should have been the backdrop for so many amazing things, but it wasn't. You did not get kissed for the first time or get Josh Harris to fall in love with you or even have any experiences that forced you and Josh Harris together alone, where he'd have to notice you and realize how much he liked you. You'd imagined it so clearly, you even drew it, that when it didn't happen, you felt ripped off, like somehow your comic should have created that perfect moment. And it didn't. You'd drawn an earthquake. Earthquakes do happen in France after all, just not as frequently as in California. You and Josh would be trapped in a safe but cut-off room for hours and hours, ideally with some wine and French bread. He'd slowly get to know you. Then somehow there would be a bed and you'd fall back onto it, kissing. And all you'd have to survive on would be canned goods. Did they even have something as unsophisticated as ravioli in Paris? You drew some tiny tins labeled Le Ravioli and La Spaghettios. Your next idea was an elevator breaking down, one of those tiny Parisian cage ones you've seen in movies, forcing you next to each other to wait for rescue. Driven together by fate and circumstance, just you and Josh Harris waiting endless hours alone together, surviving on breath mints and water, which you always carried in your bag, just in case. All the comics ended with you and Josh Harris kissing. You never really went further than that, to after, to what would happen next, to more. There's more to being in love with someone than just kissing, Kath had pointed out. Kissing is not a relationship. Boy, are you ever going to be shocked by the real thing one day. Like you're an expert, you'd said, because you dated Charlie Martin for 10 minutes? Well, duh, she'd said. In reality, it didn't matter what she said, because you weren't in a relationship with Josh Harris, or anyone else for that matter. For most of the trip, Josh Harris hung out with Fitzy and all of those loud boys, same as at home, running down Paris sidewalks as though they were in the gym at the Y, high-fiving and generally being oblivious to you, Elyse Schmidt, staring moonily after him. Stop staring at him so moonily, Kath had said. Either talk to him or don't, but all the mooning about...